Hey guys, it's Ginger. Now that the Valkyrie's out, I wanted to give a first impressions video of what I think of it after having flown it, stuff I recommend for it on the Valkyrie. So, a lot of people who are watching this, probably coming from the subreddit, have already realized that the Valkyrie is a colossal piece of crap. Hopefully that will get fixed in the future, but what I want to do with this video is go over some build ideas and loadouts and strategies for the Valkyrie that will sort of allow you to, cert into the right stuff and not waste your time if you choose to fly it, because nothing else, just because it's new right now, the Valkyrie is pretty fun, so it's a good idea to sort of know what you're getting into. So first thing I want to talk about is the certs. So the defense slot, basically, starting off, comes down to nanites or composite armor. Now, the Valkyrie allows engineers in these side seats to actually repair it while it's in flight, although it'll be reduced from the actual amount, kind of like the back seat of a harasser. So you don't need nanites if you have a lot of engineers in the Valkyrie who are willing to repair it for you. Otherwise, you can go comp armor and protect the Valkyrie a little bit. Though those NGs might die to flak if they take a lot of damage and don't have flak armor, which is also a pretty good recommendation for people running passenger in a Valkyrie. So, long story short, nanites if you're flying with maybe just 2 or 3 people, composite armor if you're flying with a full load of 6. Moving on to the utility slot, generally most of the time you're gonna want to go for the squad module. That allows people to eject from the Valkyrie safely, and also deploy into the Valkyrie at any time, just like you can with Galaxies, which is pretty awesome. That's going to be what I'd recommend if you have pretty much anyone riding passenger. If it's just you and a gunner, though, it's not going to really matter if you can deploy back into it, because you can't get shot off of the side. So it's not going to be as big of a deal that you do that. What I would recommend in that is either going for flares or fire suppression, sort of just under the same circumstances that you might go flare or fire suppression with an ESF. If you're in a very lock-on heavy area, flares, if not fire suppression. So the last thing I wanted to mention in terms of certs was the airframes. There are only 2 airframes for the Valkyrie, and those are hover and evasiveness. Now, I'm a big fan of hover when it comes to ESFs, although obviously that wouldn't apply to every air vehicle, but Valkyries are kind of similar to ESFs. So I took out the Valkyrie in VR with hover, and the thing I noticed was there's about a 30-ish km/h difference between using hover and evasiveness. Evasiveness can get it up to about 200 if you're pitching forward and holding space. Hover, not so much. So evasiveness rather is sort of dogfighting and racer mixed into one. Except the dogfighting is actually good because it allows you to pitch faster, which dogfighting does not, and that's really what matters. Hover, in hover, I didn't really notice. There is a small difference between hover and not hover in terms of your spacebar control, ascend and descend when you're actually in hover. But the issue I am having with it is it's not enough to actually allow you to dodge bullets. Generally, if you want to do that, you have to do more complicated, crazy maneuvers that evasiveness would allow you to do, because the spacebar and control when you're in hover in a Valkyrie is just not huge. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to throw people's aim off that much. So then this is footage of me running evasiveness, and you can tell right away that the Valkyrie is more evasive. It's pitching up and down really quickly, which is awesome. That's what dogfighting should be doing for ESFs, but doesn't. It doesn't roll really any faster, which isn't a huge deal. Rolling is not that important, which is why dogfighting on ESF sucks, because it only increases roll but not pitch. Evasiveness does allow you to become a lot more maneuverable, and that's really important when you're trying to stay on targets. Because essentially as a pilot you're going to be trying to give as many shots to your gunner as comfortably as possible, and there are going to be ESFs flying around you or other Valkyries, and you need to be able to keep on point with that, and hover will not really matter, because most Valkyrie engagements are more kind of close range. And moving on to some other footage here, I wanted to quickly talk about going air to ground with the Valkyrie. And the thing I noticed about it is that the gun mounted on the front, it can go aimed down quite a ways. Like, it can go pretty close to the ground. It can go a little more than 90 degrees forward, straight in front of you. So it's sort of a lower quadrant of the Valkyrie to straight in front of you is the idea. And what I noticed when trying to engage ground targets is that the Valkyrie actually has kind of a lot of trouble, because you have to... it's hard to get a consistent beat for your gunner down and forward, because if you do that, it's a helicopter, it's going to be pitching down, pitching forward, and driving itself right into the ground target. And so you can't get a very long and consistent amount of time spent on a ground target in the Valkyrie, which was sort of an issue. The thing that kind of helped correct that for me was to sort of aim up, so I'd be pitching up and back a little bit, which allowed me to sort of rotate around the ground target a lot more, but it definitely took a lot of practice, and it wasn't an easy thing for me to do. And if I don't get to it, I end up killing myself at the end of this clip with my gunners inside. So it goes well. So in conclusion, Valkyrie, if certed the right way, it's a lot of fun, and it is fewer nanites than the ESF, so it is, maybe it's in a good place for the amount of nanites that it is. It's more of a point for debate, though. At the moment, though, it's not anything that'll really get you a good KD or a lot of certs. It is new and shiny. A lot of people are flying it right now because it's new and shiny, but if it doesn't get buffed, I think it's going to wear off fairly quickly. So at the current state of things, that's the way you want to move and groove in your Valkyrie, and how you want to get your stuff done. That's about all I got for it, and I will see you guys next time.